How can you take a very negative experience and turn it into an incredibly positive one? Welcome back to the Idea Supply Chain, where we take a look at where ideas come from and what makes them valuable. In today's episode, it's a bit of a compare and contrast. If you saw a video I did last week, you might have heard me getting a little animated about an experience I had with a rental car company. So, long story short, if you want the longer version, go check out the video because I hope I did a good job telling the story. But essentially, had a rental car, it broke down, left me stranded for hours. The customer service was absolutely terrible, and it was an overall miserable experience. And so I talked about how that's an opportunity for a company to do the right thing and try to make it right. And quite frankly, it looks like the rental car company is not going to do that. I have reached out to support, and maybe they're going to cover the Uber charges. We'll see. Jury's still out. But this past weekend, I had a similar start to an experience, but a much, much different outcome. And so I wanted to talk about that. So let's set the scene. So I'm heading to the Columbus Crew game with my 9-year-old. We're super excited because Josh Williams is being celebrated. It's a player who's been the heart and soul for the Crew for a number of years. And just really excited about the whole thing. And my son had a soccer ball with a bunch of other signatures from other Crew players that he got at an event last year. And so we get to the gate, and the guy's like, "Hey, man, I just need to let you know before you even come up here, is like, you can't come in with an inflated ball. Like, we can only have deflated balls. And that's all we can allow through." And I was like, "Oh, man, really?" I was like, "You'd think that would be posted somewhere." Okay, so at this point, I'm like trying to figure out my options. Car's parked like a mile away. The signing event is starting then. Probably not going to make it back and get back in time for the event. So I did the natural thing and, of course, tried to start deflating the ball with whatever I could find, including things like a stick or a key ring that I was able to kind of unwind. Anyway, that doesn't work. That is a pain in the ass. Don't try that. But finally I was like, "Hey, I got to ask, man, is there any way I can just like leave this with you?" And okay, so gotta ask, right? I think that was one of the things that I've really been learning lately. You've got to make the ask. And the guy's like, honestly, he's like, "I'm not supposed to, but I'm actually going to be here all night." So he's like, "I'll tell you what, leave it here with me. Find me at the end of the game, and I'll make sure you get it back." And I was like, "Oh, wow, man. Like, thank you. I really appreciate that." So, okay, cool. So after a fair bit of time, we get inside and trying to figure out kind of like what my son is going to have signed. And anyway, we get over end of the line. And at this point, the line is pretty long and the time is dwindling because a lot of this time has been wasted trying to figure out what I'm doing with this damn ball. So we're in line and they're telling us, "Hey, he's got a hard stop. You're probably not going to get there." And I was like, "All right, well, we're going to wait anyway." And so as we're standing in line and the time is up, someone from the front of the line kind of comes back laughing, and he's like, "Yeah, they just told Josh that he's got a hard stop." And he looked at him and said, "Hey, this is my event. I'm in charge here, and I'm already retired. What are they going to do to me?" He's like, "I'm finishing out the line. These people came to see me, and I want to like honor that request." And man, that just blew my mind. And so I had this super negative experience going in there. And honestly, like I was starting to get frustrated. It felt very much like the same buildup as the car rental. I'm except in this case, I'm kind of getting upset on behalf of my son, right? Who, of course, handled it probably way better than I did. But he's like, "Yeah, we'll see." Like, he's pretty chill about a lot of things. But this was something I really wanted to let him experience. And he was definitely excited about the opportunity. And so like I was starting to get frustrated. But then like those two instances of being seen as like an actual person, first by the guy at the gate who's like, "Hey, yeah, I can't, normally I shouldn't do this, but I'll help you out this time." And then Josh, the guy who's the center of attention, the guy who's there signing autographs, realized that it was much more about the fans than it was him. And that completely changed that whole experience. It took what was a negative experience and turned it into very, very much a positive experience for everybody involved. And it just served even more to highlight the difference in outcomes between car rental, where by the time I finally get a replacement car, like I'm so pissed off, my hands are shaking, and it's been like 9 hours or whatever, um, versus this experience where it was kind of building up over, half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and then was just completely diffused by the actions of the people involved. And so the lesson here is that just by showing a little humanity, and you know what, the rules could have been posted better. Maybe they were, and I just missed them. I don't know. Like, that part's kind of complicated. Fine. It is what it is, but we were able to come to a satisfactory resolution for everybody involved. And that just led to an absolutely incredible experience. And so for that, I just wanted to give a shout out. Thank you, Columbus Crew Organization, and the people working. I've honestly always had excellent experiences with everybody I've dealt with at the stadium. This almost turned into a negative one, and then very quickly was made right by the people involved. And definite shout out to Josh Williams. If I wasn't already, I think this is officially becoming a Josh Williams stand account. So, Josh, I love you, man. Really appreciate everything you did, not only for the club, but for me and my son who were standing in that line. It meant the world to us, and we really appreciate it. Keep that in mind as you go about your life. Look to make a positive experience in people's day to day, because it's amazing how quickly that can shift the narrative in their day from a negative one to a positive one. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.